Matthew Ray,
Present.
William Walker,
Present.
we see you.
We
Take
can't.
your mic.
Did you get me? You
Yeah.
got me, right?
Yeah, we held
Not
on
your
there.
turn yet.
No, turn your mic on.
Mr. Stewart,
Present, ma'am.
Diane Layden,
Present.
Debbie Strung. Here. Richard Clark, he's our new member. He said he wasn't gonna make it. I do have him on the agenda as an introduction for next Friday. Michael Wismer,
I think he might be walking in right now.
Elena Giacchi,
She did, I guess, send an email indicating.
We
that she
sent
would
an
not-
email.
not attending, okay.
Right.
Let me see if
And that is Mr. Wismer walking.
Oh,
in.
perfect.
Here comes Michael.
I got him.
Hey, hey.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wismer, for
Michael.
being here.
Michael.
So, the chair will note that we have a quorum. And let me just say to everybody, we had planned this meeting as a working session. Therefore, minutes are really not required. We've got counsel here, and I guess there was some difference of opinion in terms of what we actually needed for today. But let me just ensure staff is comfortable with what we're doing, and because we want to be free to talk and discuss the report. And we did indicate that we weren't taking any votes on the report, and that, I believe, is still the pleasure of the SOAR. So with that, my sense is I should turn this over to Debbie Strong, our vice chair and chief architect of this report, and she can walk us through it.
All right, well, my first comment comes from my husband just saying that the glossary should be the first thing in the report. And I don't think that's such a bad idea because we start using defined terms even in the foreword. So I can move that if, that's agreeable to everyone. And other than that, if anybody has comments, corrections, I got yours, Diane Layden. And I made that correction. So other than that,
Madam
Go,
Chair,
yeah.
I certainly wanted to get clarity on the listening session subcommittee.
Me too.
I'm just not clear on where that is.
Okay.
I think we've got two different.
I found
well,
it.
Matt and Jim put together a draft that they sent to me and to Elena Giacchi. And then Elena made revisions to it, which, I mean, Matt's and Jim's version was like a paragraph or maybe two. Elena's was 3 pages, which included all of her notes, I guess,
So
from a
not-
handout
I'm not
that
sure.
I never got.
I'm
I
I'm
didn't
not
either.
sure if you saw this.
No.
Dr. Layton's
It
holding
came
it
this
up
morning.
as well.
It
And
didn't come to me.
so I'm not sure if that,
I believe it did.
Nope.
so Diane,
No, it did not.
you
I
apparently
was-
have some information.
And your name was on the,
No, I didn't get it.
okay, that happens. Okay.
So now what's the intent? Is that what she wants?
Yes, I think she does. She wanted more coverage. And I would like to say this. I read what you wrote.
I didn't write it.
There's a paragraph in here.
That's right. And it was prepared by
Okay.
Matt and Jim, who were both at that meeting. I made a couple of revisions to it based on what Elena sent me on November 21st.
Okay, my one comment is this. Okay,
Before you let me clarify, Matt did 98% of the work.
Okay.
Blame it on Matt. Come on.
Yay,
Come
Matt,
on.
you're just jumping right in.
Okay,
I'm not
let me say
finding
this.
fault with it.
Let me say this. And Mr. Wismer's here and is chiefly responsible for this, but we've made provision to have dissenting opinions
Exactly.
as a part of our report. And if that is, the intention of that's fine. We're not gonna vote on anything today anyway. I think we needed clarification on whether this is committee discussion and this needs to go back to committee and they need to hash that out and determine what they're submitting to us. Or if that's Elena saying, well, I don't agree with the committee report and this is my dissent. And I'm just not clear on.
I
what
think
that
that's
is.
what you just said, is your latter statement is what the situation is, because I am quite sure that Matt and Jim are in agreement that what is in here now accurately summarizes what happened at this meeting, which I was not at, and we're,
I was not there, but
right, so.
I
only-
get to say
The two
something
people who were
anyway.
there are here.
Are
So
in
let's-
agreement.
No, we all get to speak. Forgive me. Forgive me. I need to, forgive me, Judge Jewel. Elena spent 2 years trying to arrange this meeting,
Three.
and she isn't recognized for that. She's recognized at the end of the paragraph as an attendee with Jim and Matt. And I think she needs to be given credit for, she spent 2 years. We tried a meeting at the West Side Library and it didn't work. She spent years on this.
So, Dr.
So-
Layton, with.
I just would
Is-
like.
is this her?
I
So you-
am hoping you will attach this.
I don't have that. I have not received it. So I don't
Okay.
know what it is you're referring to.
Take my copy.
We
I,
haven't seen it. I haven't.
I guess she
Yeah,
didn't
nobody's
intend it to
seen
be
it.
attached because she didn't send it to everybody.
I got it. Judge Jewel got it.
I don't know if I
Jim
got it
Stewart
from
got
Elena,
it.
if I got it from,
I don't have
Danette.
it. No, I don't
We
have
don't,
it.
we don't have it.
We don't have it.
Okay.
Please
I was
take
looking
it.
for it now.
All right, I'll email it to you when this meeting is over. I am just asking
But,
that she
but
be
certainly,
given credit.
Dr. Layton, I don't think it's anybody's intention to deny attribution.
Well,
to
it's
Elena.
not
She did-
in the, it's
She
not,
had, as you indicated, had wanted a South Valley listening session for quite some amount of time, and finally pulled that off deftly.
she did. It's on page 9.
Yes, but also in the section of the report that lists the subcommittees.
Not 9.
she
Well,
is-
I'm wrong.
I
she
don't
is
think that
listed.
we don't recognize
Yeah.
individuals for whatever they do on the committee. We just recognize.
I
committees.
know, but she disappears from, she spent 2 years trying to arrange this meeting. I have supported her all this time. She's talking about the underserved. It was a struggle getting this board to recognize that there are people who are underserved.
Well, I
Forgive
take
me.
issue with that. It was not an issue. It was made into an issue by people who hadn't even seen the meeting. And it resulted in a session trashing the members of this board, having nothing to do with the sheriff.
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you referring
Should
to?
know.
Anyway.
Please.
What we're doing is discussing the report, and
Right.
and if there needs to be something further, we're not gonna vote on it today. So if there needs to be something further, whether it's sufficient attribution to Elena, or whether it's her being able to submit a report in further recognition of the efforts that she made, I think the board is open to seeing that. If I'm understanding the vice chair, she hadn't seen what was placed before me, and I can look and try to
We have-
determine the source of it, but I just need clarification on what this was.
Here, it's
All
on
I can say is that in
page
section 9 of the report, which is on page 7 of the unredlined version, it says, investigate alternate SORB meeting venues focusing on underserved areas. It's Elena, Matt, and Jim. And they were the people involved in
I'm
this.
sorry, what page?
7.
7.
Matt and Jim, we would certainly welcome your comments in this regard.
Okay.
I don't seem to have that page with me.
It's a matter of attribution. Who
Is
should get
this
credit
the,
for this? I mean, that's certainly the board to make a decision how they want to do this report and reports in the future. Personally, Jim Stewart, I'm not sure we ought to stick anybody's name on any individual thing that was done.
Right.
Matt and I and Elena were kind of under the gun to meet the suspense date for getting this material into the vice chair so she could work on it. And it was not forthcoming. So Matt was sitting there at the table with Elena. I was master of ceremonies. I was yakking the whole time and not really paying attention to the details. that Matt was and Elena was. So Matt put together that paragraph that was pushed out, and it's in this report right now. Elena contacted me and pushed back, to use a military term, against my desire to, she had a whole laundry list of things. And I said, Elena, this is a top level. This is a report to the sheriff's office and the board of commissioners, and having the little nitnoid details in there is not something we really want. What we want to capture is the essence of what occurred there, and it's in the report. There's other venues that we have to deliver the other information that you gathered. She alludes sometimes that this was, the people there were underserved. I would have to disagree with that. There's a senator there, there's a school board member, there were school teachers there, you know, there's just kids that go to a magnet school, homeowners association presidents. Technical definition of underserved, that's not the group that the crowd there. And the majority of the comments were not attributable to the sheriff's office. I'd say maybe 10% of them had to do with the sheriff's office, and the other ones were odds and ends, Samuel Berkman, juvenile justice reform, and all these other sorts of things. So we're not, good to hear, and we bring it back, but it's not really part of the SORB's mission. So Matt?
Yeah, I just echo everything that Jim said and agree with your recollection of the meeting. Just a couple of points, if I may. One, new to the board, obviously, so.
You hit the ground running though, man.
I came in, right, and, you know, maybe it's misunderstanding on my part of the role of the board member, but I saw there was a listening session within a few weeks of my appointment, and so I went. I wasn't officially part of the committee, if you will, because I wasn't on the board at the time, but I went to participate as a board member. So when the discussion came up about providing some comment about to include in the report, to Jim's point, kind of went to Elena, and, you know, no response for a couple of weeks, and we were on the deadlines that we had. So I typed up an email and sent it to Jim and to Elena, summarizing the paragraph that you see in the report. But I also put in there a recommendation that, because she had at the previous meeting provided that long list of comments, if you'll remember. She didn't send it to anybody, she just brought it to the meeting and wanted it attached. So my recommendation in the email was that we include, if she wanted her lengthy comments, that perhaps we include that as an attachment to the minutes of the November meeting, where we discussed what occurred at the listening session, as opposed to including it all in the, then she responded and said she was okay with that. She included the language along with some additional stuff that she said she was going to send to Debbie. Don't know if she did or not.
She sent me what was essentially a restatement of the paragraph that you had drafted, and then some
Additional comment.
additional, like 3 pages of her, what appeared to be notes, jottings or something, and some things that just didn't apply to this section of the report, saying that SORB was created to provide a forum for the community, and that's already in the
Right.
introduction.
So
So
she never
that's-
indicated to me in the emails anything about the paragraph not being an accurate reflection of what occurred. There was no, in fact, she responded and said, this is good. I'm incorporating it with what I'm sending to Debbie, and she sent it off to Debbie. So that was the last I heard of it until this morning, as she sent, you know, this updated one. So
Did you get this too?
she did, I did see,
I get it.
I know you didn't. I'm gonna send it to you when we
Yeah.
get home.
she did send it to me this morning with who else was on it. So
Let me just, Matt, and.
So my contributions, just to summarize, was just to sort of try to encapsulate my recollection of what occurred at the listening session in a short paragraph that would be appropriate for the annual report. And then any other sort of lengthier comments and details, again, the board would decide if that wants to be in the annual report or if it wants to be attached to the minutes or recorded. I do agree, she has some valid, you know, reflections and comments that I
Yes.
think is helpful. Whether that should be in the report is for the board to decide. But again, I'll refer back to my earlier recommendation of that if it's not going to go in the annual report, perhaps a version of it could be attached to the minutes of the next meeting, so that there is an actual record. Because to Jim's point, much of what was discussed wasn't germane to the SORB or to the sheriff's office, but nonetheless, you know, we want to have a record of it. So
What I'm wondering is if this is something that is resolvable at the subcommittee level, I mean, you said whether it's in the report is up to the board. Well, I mean, it's up to the board in a sense, but we provided for dissent. I mean, and so if Elena says, no, I want my opinion that we have provided for that, we can do that. But if we can have one subcommittee report in the annual report, it seems to me to be worthwhile for you all to revisit that and give us one version, that, you all can bless and sing Kumbaya over.
Right. Well, what she sent me, to the extent that I incorporated it in here. Yeah, I didn't get this. But I added, part of what she sent. And as far as I'm concerned, that's all that's necessary in this report. And my feeling is, without belaboring this, if Elena objects to this and the rest of the board or the majority of the board doesn't object, then she is free under our rules to write up her dissenting opinion, and that can be attached to the report. And then, call it a day. And I don't think that it necessarily speaks well if we put into this report that it's taken her 3 years to set up a meeting.
Yeah, I mean, we don't,
She's not yet on 3 years. Mike,
I mean, we don't say that we tried setting up a meeting with the sheriff's office for 4 months, or we don't put that stuff in a report. It's a report.
Okay, Mr.
It should be
Witcher,
concise.
did you have comment?
I've been listening to the conversation very closely, and I'd like to remind everybody that in the last meeting, we sort of set up for this meeting by asking the subcommittee to coalesce their comments and get them to the vice chair by a certain date. That happened, and it seemed like, from what I'm hearing from Jim and Matt, is that they did put that summary together. If we continue to belabor over how many comments Elena wants to add at the 11th hour, I think we're just going to go down a rabbit hole that I don't think we should. I believe that if Elena has a last minute or additions or deletions, that we should add them as an alternative view or a minority view and be done with it. Quite frankly, the committee did what we asked them to do. And they provided a top-level summary, as Jim so eloquently said and Matt agreed to. They got together and provided a high-level summary, which is what we want in the report. When you go into too many details, or we keep opening it up for refresher comments, we're just not moving forward. I thought we had a path forward in the last meeting, and Jim and Matt did their part to make that happen. Whatever else Elena wants in there as a minority view, let's just do it that way.
And it's not up for a vote right now, but I
Right.
appreciate the comment, and I see 2 hands. Madam Vice Chair, what else?
Well, I just wanted to add that, I agree exactly with what Michael said.
Okay.
thank
Dr.
you.
Layton.
My
Oh,
only-
I'm sorry. And one other thing is that we have spent a lot of time in this committee talking about what Elena intends or
In this
wants
committee.
when in her
meeting, SOAR.
absence, in the SOAR,
Okay,
in this board in general over the years. And I just think that if she has a view and she wants to express it, let her come and express it. But I don't think anyone speaks for her. So why are we talking about, Elena
wish to
wants
speak
this,
for
Elena
myself.
wants that?
Thank you. I think this board in our report should recognize that Elena Giacchi initiated this event. We don't have to say it was 2 years ago. She initiated and led this effort to hold this event in the South Valley. And I think she should be given credit, and it could be a half a sentence. Elena Giacchi initiated this activity. That's all it has to say. It gives her credit.
Dr. Layton, can you draft something that we can consider next week then?
Yes,
Your 1 sentence?
Yeah, well, add it to Elena's dissenting opinion.
Well, I don't know.
I have no comment.
Yeah, I don't know what the intention of that is, and
I
again, it's the committee's
I know,
desire to revisit with Elena?
We all put in a lot of effort to come to meetings and do things. That's what. we're
no,
on the
this
board
was her
for.
particular effort, and we had discussions about what underserved meant. And I know she didn't understand why people on this board didn't understand her, middle-class folks that most of us are. Okay, we're not underserved, but that conversation was upsetting for her, that she had to explain that. So I just. would
And I don't
like-
have a clear sense of whether she's upset now and
I don't
that's
know
why
that she's
not
upset.
here.
She did-
I don't either. I'm hoping that it can be resolved without a lot of rancor, but here we are discussing it, so.
Yeah, in
uh,
her absence, once again.
Yeah, so, you know, my effort as your chair is to bring about some consensus that allows us to report to the county commission.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I hear those voices that say, man, you know, if we submit a report that's got a dissent here and a dissent there, what have we accomplished? And if we can't accomplish it, how do we expect our community to? So if there's a way that we can bring this together in a consolidated report, your chair will be appreciative. If there's not, then there's room for a dissenting opinion.
I mean, I think we're we're a board. I mean, we could say that basically Debbie Strongen is responsible for this report every year. I mean, she does it.
more
And so
about
we're
that
not
in my
like
board.
saying, giving her accolades for, us. I don't think that we specify certain people, say, just, we're a board.
I mean, Michael drafted up the
Yeah, he did
part on
this and-
IA, and last year you and both of you drafted up
behavioral health,
the.
yeah.
I think this is different. Okay.
Okay, so again, we're not voting at this meeting. Let's see if we can bring this together in a way that brings us closer together, or if we just need to allow for dissent. Any other particular
Yeah, and-
areas of the report, Madam Chair, that you think need voice?
The only other thing that I just have a question about is Richard Clark, the newest appointee, because I don't have a bio for him,
I
et
did
cetera.
send him an email
Yeah.
to get you a bio.
And-
So hopefully you get it. I'll remind him again after this meeting. I know today he couldn't come because he was doing training.
Right,
So I will remind him to get that to you.
right. And so we don't have any other comments he might have, but since he has not been here all year, I think as a courtesy, we should get his view, but I don't imagine that he would have opinions one way or another on this, but I can't speak for him.
Okay.
But other than that, does anybody else, I don't think there are any other items that were, missing or awaiting input or anything. Nothing else highlighted in yellow.
Can I just say this, Madam Chair?
Sure.
You know, I looked at this forward and while it says by its chair, Tommy Jewell, I appreciate your effort to put together this forward. And I looked at it, I said, I don't think I would change a thing. Now, I think we had some discussion about who was going to be chair of the commission and whether it should just say
Oh,
chair rather than Chair Baca, but otherwise, I think she'll still be chair as we present this, won't she?
It's just gonna be at the January.
Yeah.
But
so
it's
the
a
first-
report for 2024.
The first thing they do is vote
Vote
on
on
a
it.
new commissioner. First
So-
thing they do.
maybe we should just say dear, chair, or just
Back up.
dear commissioners.
Yeah.
Yeah, or to the commissioners.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
Chair
the
and
report is
commissioners.
2024 when she was chair, so it's not,
Yeah,
I mean,
the first January meeting, the first.
Yeah,
order
they're
is
gonna
the
vote,
Pledge
they're
of
gonna
allegiance, and then the first order of business is.
kind of like,
You know,
you for
just
Chair
to the
commissioners and pledge of allegiance. No, I'm being facetious.
No, I
To
think
the-
it's Pledge of Allegiance and then.
Yeah.
we can just put to the Bernalillo County Commission.
That's fine.
And that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners, I guess is the
Yeah,
official
the
name.
official, yeah.
Can we do a pledge to the New Mexico flag?
I
No.
think it's just the US.
It's just.
Or we do it in Texas?
Oh, do you?
To the New Mexico flag?
You got.
Yeah.
You beat me.
I mean,
I can see that happening, Jim.
That's true. We don't do that here.
So Texas student pledge to the US flag, like.
To the
they
Texas flag.
consider Themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have,
There has not been a
haven't
succession that we haven't been.
We have a prayer, we have a prayer, we
A
pledge,
prayer. Wow.
pledge
Big
allegiance
prayer.
to the United States and the Texas flag.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I'd never done it before in my entire life until I went to the sheriff's office. I didn't even know we had a pledge.
What's the pledge sound like? Maybe this shouldn't be.
You can tell it later.
I want to know what the prayer is like.
Well, we know that Texas students
Is it?
will be learning the prayer, apparently. Okay, anything else?
All right,
Anything else
so
on the
those were all, I mean, I don't have anything else, so it's really up to anybody on this board or Danette or Daniel, who has a comment.
I have no comments. I will give it like a edit for typos or anything like that.
Okay,
If you'd like,
thank you.
that's, I think, thank you. I want to thank you because you have done.
And
Everything.
expect, Dr. Layton, you have your sentence?
I'll email you my sentence. I'll email the board my sentence. It's a half a sentence.
Danette, did you have any comments?
No, I think it looks,
Three-quarter.
each year that I see this, it looks like more, I was telling you, concise and
Right.
kind of straight to the point, and it's like an overview
I
of
thought that was a lot
everything.
better, yeah.
So
That's a very nice way of saying it's shorter.
but it is, I think you just,
Well, And a lot of
Just
that
kind of
actually is
touch
thanks
on it.
to Matt, who, looking at it with a fresh eye, could zero in on things that were repetitive. And so Matt, thank you.
So it's just getting better and better with time. Great job.
Okay, let me just remind us that we had this session as a result of conflict with our scheduled meeting on the 13th. We're to go
Yeah.
to the sheriff's
Promotion.
promotional ceremony and then have a short meeting, so that I expect that the short meeting will just be a matter
Yeah.
of voting on the annual report.
That's the only thing
Review
that's
the
on there.
times on the 13th. I thought.
It's at 11.
We're meeting here at 11
Mhm.
and the promotion is at 1.
Yes,
Okay, that's what we're doing.
yes.
Okay.
And the promotion is
At the
one.
museum.
Turkey Museum.
The last-
Albuquerque Museum.
Thank you.
Oh, they moved it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I moved it. That's why I moved us from the public safety, because you coming from the Public Safety Academy all the way to the museum was not gonna cut it. So I just ended up booking this room again
Did you get the chairs approved?
for booking rooms. I don't have to for booking rooms, because I'm gonna tell you what I went through. God, it was full. This was full.
That's all right.
Julie knocked somebody out of this room so that we could be here, because I had it up on the room where the county manager meets,
Alright.
and they.
She doesn't
bumped me
get
out
my
of that,
approval
so.
on much, but
So
We
Julie.
go by availability.
So Judge, I have a quick anecdote.
Okay.
I'm pretty easygoing, but I was in my office, the sheriff's office, administrative assistant was sitting here, one of my lieutenants was right here. And she starts to try to tell me how to do something. And I looked at her, don't tell me what to do. And her eyes went, whoop. And then I started laughing, so.
So we.
But you wouldn't know what to do without her.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing to you, just-
What I'm just saying, we go on availability because there's a lot of people that love this room.
We have this saying in the law business, right, that there's statutory law and there's case law. But also there's clerk's law, from which there's no appeal. So you don't piss off the people that are taking care of stuff, You'll never survive it. Yeah.
Look at how quickly you arranged that room.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And poor Danette, there's stuff fortunately, that we don't get exposed to, that is just circling all around her. Just every now and then she'll shoot me the email, just like this deal about whether or not this had to be a open meeting, a recorded meeting. Geez, we are trying to move an agenda, and there's all this staff and regulatory stuff going on that she just does a great job navigating. So we appreciate that, Danette. And we appreciate you, Daniel. We actually listened to some of your advice.
But we listened to all of Danette's.
Yes.
That's
So-
okay.
does-
Daniel's in a lot of those
Yeah.
emails.
I've missed a few meetings, but she does email and she does everything, like, to be honest, she does.
And so, you know, if there's nothing else, we'll close this meeting and see you all on the 13th. And
Well, I guess this is my final meeting.
this is, wait a minute.
Well, Richard Clark is taking my place, so
Oh,
he'll
is
be
he?
here at the next meeting.
Maybe,
Well, you
but
can
we
be-
may have a
You could be
concert.
here too.
Yeah.
I can be
Please.
here.
Yeah, no, seriously.
So if we're adjourned,
Take a
sir,
photograph.
can I
you know.
stop the recording?
Is this when we say we'll see you next year?